Hello everyone, welcome to Python Simplified. In this video, we will discuss about features of Python. So let's start. So to list out major features of Python, first is Python is an easy language. It is expressive. It is free and open source. It is high level language. Python is portable. Python is object oriented. Python is extensible language. It is embeddable. It is interpreted. It has large standard library. Python supports GUI programming. And finally, Python is dynamically typed. So these are the major features of Python. We will discuss each of them one by one. Let's start. So Python is an easy language. So why it is easy? Because it is easy to code. It has a syntax like English. So whatever words we use in English, similar keywords are used over here. So it is quite easy to code. It is easy to read also because of the same English like syntax. It has a very simple syntax and it is an indentation based language. That means there are no hassles of curly braces and all. So it is quite easy to read. It is easy to debug also because of its simple syntax and readable keywords. So whenever your program is having any errors, it is quite easy to find these errors in Python. Next feature is expressive. So Python is an expressive language because it has keywords which are readable like English sentences. So that makes it very expressive, and whenever somebody is reading the code, he can easily make out what is the purpose of the code. So that is why Python is an expressive language. Also, Python follows indentation, so it is easy to understand what is going on at each level. So when you look at the code, it is easy to make out what is the depth of the code and what actually the code might be doing. So that is why Python is expressive. Next feature has actually two features, that Python is free and Python is open source. So let us first find out about free. So Python is freely available. You can download the latest versions of Python from python.org. This website we have already discussed in our last lecture. So it is freely available. But like Python's interpreter is freely available, but if you want to code in a particular editor, that editor might be having some subscription. So editors are not free. They are not manufactured by python.org, but the Python interpreter is free of cost. Next, about open source. So open source means that its source is open to all. Anybody can contribute in the source code of Python. That means you can add up new libraries or some new functions in the existing version of Python. But of course, you have to follow some standards for contributing. So free and open source are two different words. Free means free of cost, you can download, and open source means you can contribute in the source code of Python by following some standards for contribution. Now next feature is it is a high level language. Obviously it is a generation 5 kind of language. So you don't need to remember the system architecture. High level means where you don't have to worry about the underlying system, the low level details. So Python is high level because you don't need to understand the system architecture, and also there is no need to manage the memory. A programmer simply need to write the program and interpret the program, or like combine various packages and execute the software. The memory management is done by the Python runtime engine itself. Also, because of like high level keywords and everything, Python is more programmer friendly because you don't have to dig down into details of the low level things or the machine level things. So it is programmer friendly. And also Python is widely used by um, usually the people belonging to non computer science background. So it is very programmer friendly. You don't need to worry about the computer details or the low level details, machine level details. Next, portable. So the word is explaining itself. You can make code on one kind of machine and you can run that code on a different kind of machine. So if that machine supports your version of Python, there is no need to make any changes in the code. You can easily run the code written at one kind of machine to other kind of machine. So but of course you have to take care that you are avoiding the system dependent features. Suppose my machine is having a feature which is not supported by your machine, then your code will not work on like these two machines as it is. So you have to avoid the system dependent features. Next feature is object oriented. So object oriented was a huge buzzword in last decade. So object oriented systems have their own advantages. They support real world kind of programming. So Python is an object oriented language because you can code in both the ways in Python. You can have a procedure oriented program or you can have an object oriented style of programming. And this is because Python provides the syntax support to write object oriented programs. So you can write classes, you can have objects, you can have inheritance, abstraction, and all these features which are listed by object oriented paradigm in Python, because Python will provide you a syntax support for that. So you can follow the object oriented programming style in Python. Okay, so all these features can be implemented. Next feature is Python is extensible. So like the feature, this feature and the next feature which I will tell you, they are like opposite of each other. Extensible means that it can be extended to other languages. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? That Python code can have some other languages code in itself. So suppose you are writing Python code, you can embed or you can extend C++ code in this language. So if a part of your code is written in C++, you can extend it in Python. So that is a feature of Python. And next feature which is opposite of extensible is embeddable. Embeddable means that your Python code could be embedded in some other language. So in extensible feature, you were using C++ code in Python, and in embeddable code, your C++ code could have Python code embedded in it. So it is easy for you to integrate scripts of Python. So Python provides like both way supports. Next thing is interpreted. So interpreted is because of the interpreter of Python. Python is an interpreted language. That means it will run your code line by line. So the internally your interpreter will convert your code into byte code and then execute it line by line. The opposite of interpretation is compilation. In compilation, your code is converted into some intermediate form and then it is executed. So it is two-step process. But in interpretation, your code is directly executed line by line. Interpretation provides you an advantage that you have to run the Python code without thinking about linking and everything, because in compilation once you get an intermediate code you have to link it, load it, and then it will execute. But for Python you can directly execute it line by line, like the interpreter will execute it line by line. And one more advantage of interpretation is it is fast and easy to debug, because it is executed line by line. At whatever line while development you are encountering an error, it will stop there, so you can easily debug. Okay, so next feature is Python supports large standard library. So this is a feature of Python because of which you need not to write the primitive code. So already a lot of primitive code has been explored and has been written down in form of standard libraries, and even nowadays you will find out a lot of third-party libraries also which you can use. So in Python there is very less need of writing the code, like you just need to call the functions and customize them. Like you have to do the customize call according to your necessity. Next is because of this standard library, Python is simple and easy to code because you already have a lot of help available. Next feature is Python supports GUI programming. So Python offers various kinds of libraries to have GUI programming. So whenever you are making a software which you want to appeal to a huge crowd or to normal people, it should have a GUI platform. So Python wanted to be a very competitive language. It has the feature of procedure oriented, object oriented, scripting kind of thing. So it also provides the support of GUI programming through which you can create graphical user interfaces so that your software appeals to a lot of people. So it has various libraries to do that. Next is dynamically typed. Dynamically typed, here typed means the data type. Okay. So Python is a dynamically typed language. So the value of a variable is decided at runtime. It is not decided in advance. Like some of you who have already done the coding in some other languages, you might be aware that you have to declare a variable first. Suppose I want to use a integer variable, so I have to declare it first and then I will use it. And throughout that program, that variable will have the data type of integer. But that is not the case in Python. Suppose I want to use a variable as integer, I will assign it value 10, and then later on if I assign it value as hello, it will be converted into string. So it is a dynamically typed language. Therefore, we don't need to specify the type of data while assigning them. That means there is no need of like int I. There is no need of declaring the variable of a particular type. Whatever type you are assigning it, it will take the type of that data. Okay, so that is all for this video. Hope you understood all the features of Python. Thank you very much. Next will be the applications of Python.